Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video tutorial from Basic Biology. So today I am talking about the replication in prokaryotes. So prior to the elaboration of this process, we have to know some certain key features of prokaryotes or the prokaryotic replication. So let's start. The first important key feature is the origin of replication. In our last video, I told you that there is a specific site where the replication begins, and that specific site is known as origin. Both in prokaryotes as well as in eukaryotes, the origin is very important and significant. But in case of prokaryotes, specifically in case of E. coli, there is a specific site which is known as ORIC. In other bacteria, different names are given, but in case of E. coli, it is known as ORIC. That ORIC consists of 245 base pair DNA sequences. It consists of 245 base pair DNA sequence, and within this sequence, there is specifically two regions known as 9 mers and 13 mers. These two consensus regions are significantly present in ORIC or in E. coli, which is highly conserved in that species. And that 9 mer or 13 mers are the 80 read sequences. So now, say for example, in case of bacteria, the circular DNA is present, and within this circular DNA, this region is known as origin. And within this origin, there are two sequences. One is known as 9 mers, that means 9 80 read sequences, and the 13 mers, that is the 13 80 read sequences are present. In case of bacteria, a single origin is present, so a single replicon is present within the bacteria. So here the replication process begins. So it's a very key feature or a very important feature for the replication in prokaryotes. The second important feature is the enzymes which are used during the replication process. The first important enzyme is the primase, which is responsible for the synthesis of RNA primer. Now, what is the importance of RNA primer in replication of prokaryotes? Now, DNA polymerase is unable to synthesize any strand unless it is provided with a free 3' hydroxyl group. Just see the diagram. Say for example, this is the DNA strand, and this is 5' to 3', and this is 3' to 5'. Now, the replication process begins definitely with the RNA primer. Why? Because this RNA primer provides an 3' hydroxyl group and with this help of 3' hydroxyl group, DNA polymerase is able to synthesize the strand or extend the strand. This is called DNA pol, specifically DNA pol 3. So RNA primer is very important over here, unless no polymerization will take place during the replication process. And this primer is synthesized by a specific enzyme is known as primase, which is the product of DNA G gene. If the primase is synthesizing continuously, both in the continuous strand as well as in a discontinuous strand, then the replication process is able to grow their strand with the help of DNA polymerase 3. Now the third important feature of the replication is the most important enzymes which are used during the replication process, that is what is called DNA polymerase. Now DNA polymerase is the key enzyme for the replication in prokaryotes as well as in eukaryotes. But there is a hell and heaven difference in the prokaryotic polymerases and the eukaryotic polymerases. So in E. coli, there are mainly 5 types of DNA polymerase are present, and they are named as DNA polymerase 1, polymerase 2, polymerase 3, polymerase 4 and the polymerase 5. So firstly we come to the first polymerase, which is known as DNA polymerase 1 or DNA pol 1. Now this is also known as Kornberg enzyme, after the name of the scientist Arthur Kornberg. And this DNA polymerase consists of 2 subunits. One is called large fragment and another is called small fragment. Now large fragment is also known as clenofragment, and it has 2 major functions. First, 3' to 5' exonuclease activity. Now what is the mean of exonuclease activity? It is responsible for the removal of mismatch bases or misnucleotides from the growing DNA strand. So in another way you can say it has a proofreading function. And another important function is (5' to 3' polymerization activity. That is, it is able to synthesize small fragment of DNA after the removal or through the exonuclease activity or after the removal of the short segments of RNA primers, that I will discuss later on. So these 2 major functions played by these large fragment or the clenofragment. The small fragment has 5' to 3' exonuclease activity. But this activity or the function of the small fragment is not important in case of replication process. Rather it is used during the DNA repair mechanism or the UV induced repair mechanism or the mutational changes, or mainly in case of in vitro processes. So this small fragment is not important over here. Now this is what is called the function of the DNA polymerase 1. Now we come to the another enzyme or the second enzyme, which is known as DNA pol 2. Now DNA pol 2 has, similar to the DNA pol 1, it has 3' to 5' exonuclease activity, but it lacks any polymerization ability which is present in case of pol 1. So this DNA pol 2 is not directly used in the replication process. Rather it is specifically used in the DNA repair system, mainly the UV induced repair system. Now the third important enzyme is DNA pol 3, and which is the most important as well as a very complex enzyme in respect to the rest of the 2, that is the DNA pol 3 or DNA polymerase 3. Now DNA polymerase 3 consists of 10 subunits and divisible into 4 parts. The first part is known as core enzyme. Second part is known as sliding clamp. Third part is known as gamma complex. And the fourth one is called tau protein. Now these 4 complex together consist of 10 subunits and having multiple functions of these DNA polymerase 3. Now let us elaborate. Now among these 4 parts of this DNA polymerase 3, the first part is known as core enzyme. And this core enzyme consists of 3 subunits. One is alpha, epsilon and theta. These 3 subunits together form the core complex or the core enzyme, and which has been picturized in this diagram. Now among these 3 subunits, the alpha subunit is responsible for 5' to 3' polymerization. That means the extension of the strand. That enzyme is specifically responsible for that part is specifically responsible for the polymerization or the extension of the strand. Now the second part, which is known as epsilon, it has 3' to 5' exonuclease activity. Again, the removal of mismatch bases, that is the proofreading function. So similar to the polymerase 1, DNA Pol 3 has also a proofreading mechanism. And the third one, which is known as theta, it is responsible for the assembly of these core enzyme. That means the formation of these complex alpha, epsilon and theta. So it is responsible for the assembly of core and also responsible for the activation of these or the stimulation of these exonuclease activity. So stimulation of epsilon. So these 3 functions is performed by the core enzyme part of the DNA polymerase 3. Now the another important portion, that is the second part, which is known as the sliding clamp. Now sliding clamp is made up of specifically a single subunit that is called beta. And it is a dimeric structure. That means 2 beta subunits together form beta 2. This beta 2 acts as a sliding clamp. Now clamp means it is responsible to hold the enzyme, the whole enzyme along with the DNA. So sliding clamp is very important, and this sliding clamp is loaded by the another complex which is known as gamma complex. So sliding clamp is loaded by gamma complex, and which is a ATP dependent process. Now if you see this diagram, then this clamp, which is made up of beta 2, this clamp is loaded by the gamma complex. Now what is gamma complex? This is the third important part of this DNA polymerase 3, which is called gamma complex. Now this gamma complex consists of 6 polypeptides but having 5 subunits, and these subunits are gamma 2, delta 1 prime, chi 1 and psi 1. So these 6 subunits together form the gamma complex, and this gamma complex is only responsible for loading the sliding clamp within the DNA. So, and it is a ATP mediated process, and after the loading is over, then gamma complex dissociates from the sliding clamp or the rest of the part. So after the loading is over, now the final part of the DNA polymerase 3 is the fourth part, or the last part, which is called the tau protein. It's a tau protein. Now tau protein is also a dimeric protein. And it has a DNA dependent ATPase activity. DNA dependent ATPase activity. And this tau protein form a complex which is known as tau 2. It's a dimeric structure and responsible for the loading of the core enzyme that I have discussed previously, that it loads the core part within the growing strand and attached with the clamp. And in this way, the whole polymerase, DNA polymerase 3, activate the replication process and initiate the synthesis of the growing strands. So in our later video, I'll be talking about the mechanism of replication in prokaryotes. So stay tuned and follow my channel. Thank you.